The UK is accelerating plans to tackle climate change. A new legal target has been set to reduce emissions by 78% by 2035. The pledge includes emissions from aviation and shipping industries for the first time and had brought forward the target by 15 years. Joining me now is the British High Commissioner to Australia, Vicky Treadell. High Commissioner, thanks so much for your time. This is a very ambitious target set by the Prime Minister and by the British government. Is it trying to give momentum heading into the climate talks, of course, which the UK is hosting later in the year?
Yes, we have said we need ambition. So if we are promoting ambition, we have to deliver it ourselves. So this is now the world's most ambitious climate reduction, emissions reduction target in the world. And why are we doing it? Because it is the right thing to do, because time is short. The global environment is under huge stress. We are seeing it with extreme climate manifesting itself. Droughts are longer. Extreme weather like cyclones seem to be more devastating than they used to be. Now, climatic conditions changing is not something new. Over millennia, climate has changed, but the pace of change has allowed evolution and the world, the natural order, to adapt. But what we're seeing is an inability to keep pace with the extreme effects of climate. So when we talk about climate ambition, it is in this new reality. Time is short and we need to move faster than we have done.
And do you feel there's momentum building with the Biden summit this week and then the G7 and then the COP in Glasgow in November?
Yes, well, tomorrow is Earth Day, coinciding with the US Climate Leaders Summit. And each of these milestones towards COP26 in November in Glasgow is an opportunity for people to review, reflect, and set new ambition. And that's precisely what we're doing. It is a year of international leadership for Britain on the climate agenda. We are hosting COP26. So in that leadership position, we feel absolutely honour bound to think about what we are going to do. There's no point preaching positive, progressive behaviour if you're not manifesting it yourself, if you're doing real things on the ground in your own country.
Is it easier for the UK, and this is what I'll put to you, what the critics would say here, easy because you're connected to Europe essentially in energy terms, and they've got nuclear capacity, which is emissions free. Is it a different setup to what we face here?
Every geography, every jurisdiction has its own context, and people must make their own sovereign decisions. But we all know we have a time frame towards 2050. And part of the conversation is moving to actually we need faster action before 2050. So the announcement by Prime Minister Johnson today is part of that new narrative. We need to set a new interim target in order to be certain that we will get to where we need to be by 2050. Is it easier for Britain? I don't think so. You know, we are a highly industrialised economy. We're not blessed with the commodities that Australia has. We know that we're working against the clock to transition our economy towards that new green economy, to the building back better, to the opportunity of a new economy of the future.
Are you encouraged by what you heard today from the Prime Minister and Energy Minister with commitments $500 million or a bit more than that to hydrogen and carbon capture? Is this heading in the right direction?
Yes, of course. And, you know, the Prime Minister's announcements today are to be welcomed and encouraged. And we want to work with Australia. Very recently, our Minister, Kwasi Kwarteng, had a meeting online, virtual, with Minister Taylor. We talked about technology partnership in that. And certainly what business and industry wants is certainty. You know, targets are one thing, but the regulatory environment, government putting some money, skin in the games, announcements of what government will do to create the right environment for investment flow to happen.
But the Prime Minister clearly wants people to be more ambitious too. Prime Minister Johnson, that is.
Yes, he does.
And that includes Australia.
all countries, all nations. You know, in his statement today announcing our new target, he invited other world leaders to raise their ambition too, to work with us. Now, everyone has to decide what that level of ambition is.
Does that include midterm targets, do you think? Australia
I think midterm targets, because, you know, one of the big issues in conversations I have with Australian officials and ministers is, how do you measure this? How do we know that we will hit the point we need to hit by 2050? So interim measures, interim targets, policy, the way to make sure that when business and industry announce they're going to become carbon neutral by 2050, how do we prove that they are? So, you know, legislation is a tool, a regulatory environment is another way to have the right framework. And we need to be creative, but we need measurement, we need plans. And most importantly, we need certainty for business and industry, and to carry people with us. People worry, I will lose my jobs. What are the jobs of the future? And we need to have those honest conversations. We need to map out what it will look like, that this is a journey we're embarked on. And here are the milestones so that we can measure and monitor our progress. That's absolutely essential.
British High Commissioner Vicky Treadell, I very much appreciate your time as always. Thanks.
Thank you very much indeed.
We'll talk to you soon.